Hey guys, Chris Anderson with Pursuit Hunting and another straight shooting gear review. Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite pieces of hunting gear. That's the LaCrosse Alpha Burly Sport hunting boots. You know, if you followed my blog on pursuithunting.blogspot.com, or if you've looked at some of my videos on YouTube, you'll know that I advocate what I call the pursuit style of deer hunting. And if you don't know what that is, check out my blog. Again, that's pursuithunting.blogspot.com. There's lots of great articles on exactly what I'm talking about. If you look in the Scouting 101 section, there's many articles that you can look through. But to suffice it to say that what I'm talking about is a style of hunting that involves lots of walking. And basically, I'm scouting hard throughout the whole deer season. And to do that, I need a pair of boots that are not only comfortable, but I need boots that are durable, boots that provide good traction and support, and a good pair of rubber boots which are going to minimize the amount of scent that I'm putting down on the ground. Notice I didn't say eliminate, but minimize. These Alpha Burly sport hunting boots are hands down the best boots I've ever owned for hunting. They're waterproof. They're constructed of a waterproof rubber over a 3.5 millimeter neoprene body. These particular boots are the uninsulated style. They do make this particular boot with different levels of insulation, but for hunting in the southeast, I find that the neoprene that these boots are made out of gives me plenty of insulation for all year round. One of the things that I like about them is they have what they call their sport chassis, which is basically the midsole and bottom of the boot, which is essentially identical to what you would find on a regular lace-up boot. Makes them very comfortable. They feature a cam lock buckle on the back, which I've never really used, but if you wanted to cinch the boots down tight around your upper calf, you could do that. The back of the boot has a gusset, which allows the boot to expand. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Comes in a couple different camo patterns. You can get it in Realtree or Mossy Oak, whatever your preference is. It does come in green as well. The non-camouflage ones are a little bit cheaper, but I would think most hunters are probably going to prefer a camouflage version like what you see here. They're about 18 inches high, and they weigh 3.6 pounds per pair, so they're not too terribly heavy. The purpose of these boots really is, in my mind, it's an all-season hunting boot here in the southeast. Now, if you hunt in the upper Midwest or Canada, where the temperatures get below zero, you might want something with more insulation than this. But I find even when it gets down into the teens where I hunt, these boots, if you wear a heavy pair of socks, are going to be plenty warm for you. As I said, being rubber, they're going to minimize the amount of scent that you leave on the ground. I've seen many deer walk right across trails where I've walked, and unless I've bumped into some vegetation or something, they've never had a clue that I was there. They've always kept my feet dry in everything from just walking through early morning grass and dew to stream crossings or muddy conditions. I tend to think that they provide pretty good protection from snake bite. Now, I'm not going to advocate them as snake boots. Use them for that purpose at your own risk, but I feel like they offer a pretty fair amount of protection against snake bites. I can vouch for the fact that they will reduce ticks. If you tuck your pants legs down inside the top of the boots and spray both the boots and your pants legs with some good Permanun insect repellent, I found that it's really cut down on the number of ticks that I get around the bottom of my legs, particularly the little seed ticks. So I really like that as well. And the other thing that it does is it gives you a good amount of protection on your ankles and lower legs from low-lying briars and thorns and that sort of thing that you might run through. These particular boots here are only a year old. I have another pair of boots here. These boots are 6 years old. I wore these every day of hunting for 5 years, and I finally decided to retire them at the beginning of this year and get another pair. But you can see, even after 5 years of hard use, these boots have held up pretty darn well. They're very comfortable. I find that they grip my foot very securely. They have what they call an ankle foot system that holds my foot securely enough that I find that they're practically as secure on my foot as a regular lace-up boot. The soles of these boots, turn this up so you can see them, look like a traditional boot sole. They're with heavy lugs, do a great job gripping even on steep, slippery surfaces. Very, very sure-footed. I've never had these boots leak before. The boots that I've worn for many years they eventually did start to develop some cracks in the rubber. But again, this is 5 years use. You can see there's a little bit of a crack there. You can see that the rubber on the outside here has developed a little bit of a crack. But for the first several years of use, they were definitely watertight.